everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, ActionX show where we review things in the world of television, which normally includes episode-by-episode review. I'm currently airing shows, season-by-season reviews of shows that have wrapped up or are currently on the air for a very long time, or doing these spoiler-free season reviews to promote a show that is just wrapped up. Because today we are talking about Doom Patrol Season 3. It wrapped up last week on HBO Max. You can catch the entirety of the third season of Doom Patrol on HBO Max there. But today I will be reviewing it, giving you my spoiler-free thoughts, because it's been a long 10 weeks. Well, technically 7 weeks. 7 weeks? 8 weeks? No, 8 weeks, so I apologize. It's been 2 months since Doom Patrol came out in September. It is now the middle of November, so again, very crazy whenever I start these review series, because I did review each and every episode of the third season of Doom Patrol, so as a little bit of a recommendation, after you watch this review, you can go back and watch those old episode reviews we did, and we actually get dial down deep into season 3 stuff, so go check that out. And then next week we'll have the season 4 prediction, but that's just our normal strategy of things. But just letting you know, if you have not yet seen Doom Patrol season 3, you're in luck. This entire season review will not spoil anything beyond the first episode, so everything on the first episode is up for grabs, so don't worry about it. Anything else that does happen afterwards, I will be not touching it at all. I'll be giving very casual mention, a spoiler minute there, but normally you're good to go. You're good to go. Because again, this is our Doom Patrol Season 3 review. If I have to say this on the tagline as our normal rigmarole is Season 3 worth the binge? Is it worth the watch? Is it worth sitting down on your ass over there for the next 10 hours and watching the third season of one of the DC's most craziest, weirdest, and most far outrageous series, yes, next to Legends of Tomorrow? I would say, yeah, I would. I'm going to call this season the weirdest season of the 3, which that is a high compliment. And I will also say it is most likely the best season of the show. But in terms of development, okay, so this is kind of the weird thing to say, because I was a little bit critical on this season when I was first starting the episode reviews, and it could just because we went a very long ass time since the season 2 wrapped up, so it's been more than a year, so it could be just it took me a while to get back into that world. It's just how I was thinking at the start, and then once we started getting the real balling rolling in season 3, I think that was probably the most well written conflict we have had. It made sense. It guided us to a direction for the future, and it also gave these characters some sort of closure on a major chapter of their life, and also allowing them to have a little bit of a fresh turnaround for when we do come back for season 4. But I will say that even though this was the best season ever, I will be adamant to mention that there was a little bit of startup issues at the start. Even now looking back on it, which a couple of them did make sense, but at the same time, some of them just I wasn't really a big fan of, and I'll get to more of that as we start this off. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed the season. I'm constantly surprised at how much they're able to continue raising the bar and continue to make some of the wackiest stuff I've ever seen on television. And I think that just gives it the power to be able to do whatever they want with the content they make, whatever the material is. And this is developed, really going from an old direction to a new direction. This season is also a transitional season, where elements that you had and storylines from season 1 and 2 kind of start to simmer off towards the first half, and then you kind of go to this not bold new direction, but this kind of new avenue, just in a different sort of language than you're used to from the first 2 seasons. But that's all I'll say on that matter, because again, let's go dive a little bit deeper into this. So story-wise, this season is independence. I think that is the theme of the season, in my opinion. Where season 2 ends with Dorothy going off to fight the Candlemaker, and Dr. Dow's Cauldron, our fair leader, the chief, is at death's door. So we knew going into season 3, yeah, he's probably gonna croak, and he does croak. It is not a surprise. This was season 2 was setting up all about that. We all knew about him dying, and he finally went. It was time. It was high time for Niles Crane, for Timothy Dalton, not to get paid his very high weekly salary. I'm assuming so. He's a veteran actor. I'm pretty sure he demanded an outrageous amount of money, and because every episode said special guest appearance by Timothy Dalton, because they knew they could not afford him to be on the main payroll. What was I saying? Yeah. So that's kind of the theme, because as soon as now my one critique is again, and yes, COVID did play a factor into this. I'm pretty sure this is the last time I'll ever say that COVID made a season change its plans because of COVID. Because again, we had an original planned finale that was different, but they decided to concise everything into the season 3 premiere, which I'm still confused whether or not parts of season 3's premiere was season 2 footage reused, or they were just like, this is all entirely from scratch again. I really don't know. I can't really tell the difference. That's how well of a job they did trying to like blend the two avenues. But I am a little bit bummed out because, like, again, and this kind of hurts more season 2 than season 3. And now the more I'm thinking of it, is that this entire conflict with the Candlemaker from last season had to get resolved in this format in the first episode. The problem is they don't really play much of that idea in the episode itself. That conflict is literally over in less than 10 minutes. And I know, like, yeah, I mean, again, COVID did affect it. I am not surprised in that. But in other shows like The Flash, they took 4 episodes out of their season 7 order just to wrap up the Mirror Master storyline. They didn't rush in like a very fake half-ass battle. They continued onwards. Like, no, we're going to give the storyline a proper conclusion, despite how people think critically of the season. I won't say much on it because I'm not reviewing Flash, maybe yet. But that was how things were. And, you know, with this show, they definitely wanted to dive into whatever season 3 was trying to tell, what that story was going to be like. And they really wouldn't have mind to kind of like, well, let's kind of like just wrap up the season 2 stuff so we can go directly into season 3. Which mostly the first episode of season 2 was kind of like, this is season 2's epilogue. The next episode was the interlude, and then we started season 3 properly, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong in there, but that's kind of how I felt like the story was, because I was a little bit more critical on those first 2 episodes than when we get to episode 3 and beyond, where I was a little bit more, I started to get more and more positive about it as it went on, because it did get better early on, because I was still really bummed out the fact that they really kind of schmirked that, the whole premise of, you know, season 2 just to be quickly resolved in season 3. I did not like that at all. I don't like that when they have these big cliffhangers and then they kind of resolve it quickly. And also, but however, despite those mistakes they made early on, in my opinion, they were still able to kind of continue onwards and start using that as a platform and a foundation for more stuff to come, which again, now I'm at the point where like I can't spoil anything beyond that point, but I will say that I very much, I liked what they were trying to do. Like, you know, they were definitely building the bridge between what things were before with the Doom Patrol and what things are going to be afterward, giving it a new, different angle to kind of like catapult them to the next direction in this Niles-less world, because he's not around anymore. A lot of the Doom Patrol conflicts were because of him. You know, his relationship with Mr. Nobody, the conflict with the Candlemaker, and, you know, Dorothy's creation, well, his or her birth. So much of how the first 2 seasons went were because of Niles. This season, you kind of have to realize, like, they're free of the problem, but, like, are they really that much free without Niles being around? That's the question. Because Niles being gone, his presence is definitely felt. Even though most of the time they don't even mention him, you feel the weight of him, like, Niles is not there anymore. He's not around anymore. He's not going to guide the way or try to, like, form this team or trying to, like, hold their hand. They're all on their own in this. And again, I still don't know how this house is getting paid for, because the organization that funded this is gone. Niles is dead. Who is paying for any of this? I don't really know. It's not a spoiler because they never answer that question. They never really do. But it does give them a new direction to go, and all the characters, like, where do they go next? And all of them have their own battles to choose from and have their own things to, like, they have shit to work out. They really do. And this season definitely puts them through the ringer of, like, you really need to actually go deep into yourself and figure out, why are you like this? How do we improve it? And so much of the theme of the whole show is mental health, because all these issues, all these characters have fucked up problems. They really do. They're stuff that could be solved over time. And the one thing I am grateful for is that they don't do your typical, like, you know, superhero show or any show where whatever conflict you give them in that season, they're going to immediately resolve by the end of that season. They don't. A lot of the stuff these guys are still going through have been going on since the first season. And finally, we're at that point where, like, we're finally getting to see some progress there. But like the old saying go, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that continues to get echoed throughout the entire sentiment of the entire season. Let me check. We are recording. I'm making sure, because I was about to say I'm on a roll here, and I'm like, this is going to be a really dick move if the camera just decides to cut out of me. Okay, good. We're good on that. I won't look up there anymore. What was I going to say? I completely forgot. in terms of each of the characters this season, in terms of like what I liked about their direction this season, one of the things I will mention is that last season I felt Rita got the short end of the stick. I don't think she was used incredibly as much as compared to the other characters, in my opinion, and that was considering you still had Niles as part of the main cast, you still had Dorothy coming in and like her being like the primal focus of the season. You really couldn't give that much attention to all the characters, and that's just the case with all ensemble shows, with all these big name show characters. But the more you add, the less you're going to give these characters, and sometimes you're going to give this one character a lot more attention because the plot of the season revolves around them, and then the characters that don't really get involved too much, they kind of like get thrown to the sideline, or just they're just there when they're needed to. This season definitely for me redeemed Rita, and they actually gave her a much bigger story this time around than compared to season 2 or season 1. Those were all origin stories, so everyone was on equal footing. Last season I felt like she got the short end. This season she definitely got the most to play with, and that was really nice for them to explore. And that was all part of like this new conflict, this new direction they were going to. Again, it still felt like we're doing something similar, but mostly we're doing something new. And this is a whole different venture than before. And having Rita kind of be our lens through like, how is this conflict shaking out this season? Because this is a time convoluted topic, conflict here, which for me, like, why do they find each other? Why are they doing this? Like, I don't know. But for Rita and what her character went through this season, you understand all that at a much clearer rate that I think any exposition or any like villainous show up and then explaining it off screen, then eventually getting like the visual demonstration after that wouldn't have the same impact, in my opinion. Of course, Clint steals the show again, my favorite character again for the third season in a row. He's just amazing. Brendan Fraser can't just do wrong. He can't do no wrong. I've been watching him since 04. I've said this before many, many times on many different platforms. I love him so much, and I just love hearing his voice. And this season, oh my god, Cliff is just thrown into like the most weirdest, the most randomest shit on the planet, and I love it. I love it so much. I crave for a Robot Man spinoff. Will it actually happen? Probably not. I mean, if HBO Max decided to do like a short form, like, hey, let's do a 5-minute episodes of Robot Man just doing random shit, I would be totally down on it. But this season does definitely give a lot for Cliff to go through. He definitely is at the point of his life where he needs to change. He definitely needs to like adapt and figure out what does he need to do next. Because he blamed a lot of his problems on Niles and like towards once his whole revelations came out. And he's, who's next to blame? And that's another avenue that they explored in terms of like mental development and mental conflict, is that he always put the blame on someone like if it wasn't for him or it wasn't for that, I would be better. I wouldn't be in a robot mind. Like, always constantly giving excuses. And he finally gets that kicking the ass he needs to like actually make a change and get better for himself. Jane, I finally understood more about the internal conflicts within her mind and the world of Kay and all the personality. I finally understood that this season, so definitely already a major plus already. And I think this, at least for me, like out of the 3 seasons, this was like definitely the most straightforward. Like, here is the explanation you need to know. Sorry about that. Explanation you need to know about this world and like where the current status is, with everything. I will say again, like, as part of the season 2 leftovers throwaway, they did throw away whatever Jane was gonna go through in season 2 with this other personality out the wagon for another personality that is vying for power. So my PS5, I feel so sorry for you. I just have to see that, and sad to say for me, Larry and Cyborg, they do get to Cyborg was, yeah, I remember. This season with Cyborg, again, another season 2 throwaway. Like, well, not really a full throwaway. They don't really explore much of his things that he was dealing with season 2 with Val, and his conflict that should I be a hero or should I just be myself. One of those conflicts does continue onwards in this season, but Val's like almost completely off the radar by the second half. I'm just saying that at all. That's just something I can be able to admit. But then you go towards where he has to go for in the later half. You definitely make sense of him, and hopefully that wasn't because of budget constraints. I'll stop there about it. But Cyber does definitely get a decent chunk to go through this season, and I like the way he ended up, and I'm very curious to see where does that take him next, because this is all totally new to me for Cyborg, and I've known him as a character since 03, so I'm just curious to see what they're going to take him next. And sad to say, Larry does, for me, get the shortest end of the stick, getting one of the most prominent roles in season 2. I think out of everyone in season 3, he gets the less to work with, because he's at the point where, like, I'm finally ready to accept. Fuck, that is hot. I apologize for that shot. I was like, fuck, I thought that was cooled down by this point. My shirt is a mess. Oh my god, I am a mess. Like the characters of the show. Larry, definitely. My tongue is burned. That is great. That's going to be great for my audio. What was I saying about Larry? Yeah. I think Larry does definitely get the short end of the stick. He doesn't really get that much to do this season. I mean, when I say that, he has stuff to do, but compared to the rest of the characters, I say this every time, one character is going to get the short end of the stick. He definitely does, because he finally starts to realize his mistakes and starting to realize, how does he remove the baggage from the past and start to move forward. And even moving forward is a process of its own. It's not as simple as like, okay, I'm done with this issue. It's time to move on to the next thing. It's not that simple, because you have to be mentally ready. You have to be physically ready. You have to be willing to make that next chapter work. And you have to be willing to like change in order to make that. But as much as I like that message, they don't really give him much to do, in my opinion. So. And of course, our new character, Madame Rogel Demilles. That's not her full name, but I'm just going to call it that. I won't say much about her because she shows up later on in season 3, but her conflict with what I said before about a previous character, it makes season 3 a different sort of conflict. Because season 1's conflict was at the end, Niles and Mr. Nobody. Then season 2 was Niles on his regret on Dorothy and her impending conflict with the Candlemaker. This season felt something different, and as much as it doesn't really truly involve the team in a way, it does definitely like impact all of them, considering the fact how close they are in their current worlds. And for Madame Roger, I think, and also apparently she's George told me she looks like a Doctor Who villain or a Doctor Who herself. I won't say much about that, but George already gave me a heads up on that. But I think she fits very well in this world, and she definitely is like kind of like the starter of like something new in this universe. I will say that, and I'm very curious to see what will happen to her next, and what that character its overall purpose is. That's what I can't wait for. But yeah, overall, my favorite episode I think was I said this before. It was there was an episode later on where. It's a really deep episode. It's like it's probably the most craziest one yet, but it's the most deepest, and I love it the most. Trying to think what else I can mention spoiler free before. Yeah, okay, let's go for the spoiler minute, which is our last segment before I wrap it up, because this is the minute where I can spoil anything I want. So please skip over 1 minute if you don't want to hear any spoilers for Doom Patrol Season 3. So you ready? 3, 2, 1. Niles being a talking head, that would have been an interesting concept to keep Timothy Dalton around over COVID pandemic situations, but they did not explore that. I was very disappointed on that. I never want to see a scrotum monster ever before in my life. The Sisterhood Dada were probably the most emotionally complex character, but they're not really villains. You can make an argument that Rita at time played the villain card, but this is all part of the ever-growing scale by the grayness of characters, which I'm very much enjoying. And also, Cliff being a giant robot man is actually the most funniest thing I've ever seen on the planet. I really hope they make the budget increase for season 4 just because we can keep that way. That is it for Spoiler Minute. So overall, in my books, Doom Patrol Season 3 is the best of of the entire show so far. However, just because Season 1, Season 2 were probably great in their own rights as well, Season 3 just does a tad bit better. In a different way, I still think they were lacking in a couple different directions that Season 1 and Season 2 did better. But I think overall, when you look at the bigger picture thing, Season 3 definitely puts them through the most development, puts them through more of the ringer, and definitely puts these characters in a whole different sphere at the end of this conflict. So that's why I'm going to give this season a very high recommendation. Please enjoy it. Please go watch it. You can find all the episodes of Season 3 of Doom Patrol on HBO Max, and eventually to DVD and Blu-rays around you. I just finally picked up season 2 of Doom Patrol because it was a flat cheap $10. So fuck you for the people who were trying to pay me $25 for it. I mean, I saved $15 and I shoved it up my ass. I don't even know why I'm saying that anymore. I'm being so vulgar without any reason. Because this has been your Doom Patrol Season 3 spoiler-free review. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this season of Doom Patrol? Are you excited for Season 4? Let me know. I'm always down for conversation down below. Because this is also ActionX's What's on the Tube, where we talk about TV show stuff. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's on the Tube, we're currently normally doing Nancy Drew Season 3 episode reviews, the Rookie Season 4 episode reviews, Walker Season 2 episode reviews, a bunch of quick impressions, and a bunch of first impressions, a bunch of season reviews, and all that sorts. If you care about Doom Patrol, you're in luck. We still have one more video to put out. Next week is our Season 4 predictions video. We'll be spoiling the hell out of Season 3 and I'm giving my thoughts on what I want to see in the next fourth season of Doom Patrol, hopefully arriving next year. But that will be next week's video. But if you have not yet watched Doom Patrol, you have an assignment. Go watch Season 3 right now on HBO Max. Then also watch our episode review so you know deep dive of each episode and how I thought of it. And then after that, come back next week for the Season 4 prediction video to get a full circle of events. I'm going to stop talking because my throat is dying and this freaking tea already burned me once already. Again, this has been What's Up 2 from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next Doom Patrol review is live, which is normally each and every Saturday mornings. Please also like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get it out to other members of the fan patrol out there who have yet to discover us. Helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, and as well as sharing for free here on the interwebs. Please also ring that bell. Not ring the bell. Follow us on social media to stay up to date when it's updates for the channel. But until then, for all you members of the Fan Patrol, I'll see you all next week on the Season 4 prediction video. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.